everybody! I am back. I am in a super cozy sweatshirt, and as promised, I am going to answer your guys' questions about Disney professional internships, Disney college program, all that stuff. I have it on my phone, so if I look down, that's just what I'm doing. So the first question is, if you know, how often do professional interns get offered a full-time position after their internship? This is an interesting question. I will be completely honest. As far as I know, it's not super common. It's not common on my team. It's not common on other teams from what I've heard. It's all dependent on whether or not there's a position available at the end of your internship. So let's say you're on a team and somebody in a role that would be really well fit for you happens to leave or move to a different role while you're still an intern. If that role's available, you could totally go for it and apply and see what happens, but that's not always a guarantee. It is certainly not guaranteed that you will get a full-time job following your internship. I know it's kind of sad, everyone wishes that they could stay after their internship, but the reality is it just depends on timing. Timing is everything for your internship. The second question is about the college program. I've been auditioning for Disney character roles. Can I go to an audition even if I'm below or above the height requirements? I'm not entirely sure. I would go and see what happens. There's no harm in attending the audition. I know that they have really specific requirements and guidelines that they have to follow to determine who's well fit to be friends with a specific character. So go, see what happens. I don't think that there's any harm in trying, but I'm not entirely sure. I do know that for specific characters that you can hang out with if you choose to go the entertainment route, there are specific height requirements. So the next question, do you have any advice on what someone could do to enhance their resume to improve their chances of getting a professional internship? I think the number one thing that you want to do is get super involved in whatever it is you're studying at school or want to pursue following graduation, whatever, once you're done with college. I personally knew that communications was my major. I wanted to do something communications related, media, social media, whatever it may be that falls under that comms category. So when I was in college, I got super involved in my department. I was the vice president of the Communications Society. I was the communications research assistant with one of my professors. I helped run a study, and I was just overall really involved in that world at my school. I attended open houses and spoke on behalf of the comm department to encourage new students to come to UConn and study comm. So if there's something that you're passionate about and want to pursue after graduation, maybe even in a professional internship, I highly suggest getting involved. And also getting other internship experience that would make you a better fit candidate for the role that you're going after. So I did 2 communications internships prior to my professional internship. I worked for the US Department of State as a comms intern, and I was a paid media intern for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. So those 2 experiences gave me a lot of stuff that enhanced my resume, and it made me a better fit candidate for the role because a lot of the skills and qualities that they were asking for my PI, I had those skills from my other internship. So it's all about getting involved. You want to make sure you have as many skills as you can to make yourself a great asset to whatever team you're applying for. Jess says, hello, my question is, do you miss me? And let me tell you, I do. Come back to me. What year of college do you suggest doing the DCP, and how did you manage college in the DCP? Heather and I personally decided that our sophomore years were the best fit time for us to do the college program because we were both at schools where your major specific classes started your junior year. We wanted to be on track with the rest of the students that we were studying with, so we decided sophomore year, while we were still doing gen eds, we would pursue the college program. Heather did online classes while we were there, and she did sometimes have a tough time managing the amount of work she had to do at Disney and then the amount of work she had to do for school. I personally took that semester off and completed all of my courses that I had missed over the summers. So that was a bit of a struggle too because I didn't really have summers. I had to pretty much be a full-time student in order to make up the credits because I refused not to graduate on time. So just go into the college program process having a plan. Know how you want to go about it. Do you want to take a semester off? Do you want to take online classes? Do you want to go to a local community college near Disney and take classes there? It's all up to you. It all depends on what your school allows and what your school suggests. My school personally had a plan for anyone who did the college program that you would do this and this, and they had it all lined up. Your school might have that. You just have to ask your advisors and make sure you have a plan. The last thing you want to do is get back from the college program and not know what you're going to do and not know how to catch up. I have the international program coming up in June, and I've heard of traditions. You have to wear certain things. What should you wear for it if you're a female? So there's this wonderful thing called the Disney look. It's just certain appearance guidelines that you're supposed to adhere to if you are a Disney cast member. Specifically when you're going to traditions, there are a bit stricter guidelines in the type of attire that you should wear. So if you are a female, I would certainly suggest wearing closed-toed shoes, something that you're comfortable walking in. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you may have to stand up and walk a little bit during traditions. Something that is very not revealing, something that certainly goes to your knee or past. Personally, I think the easiest route to go is a very nice business casual dress or a pair of dress pants and a nice blouse. Those are two things that are super simple, you can't really go wrong. And if you have any specific questions about the Disney look, you can go ahead and leave a comment below and I can answer your specific questions, but overall, that is my recommendation for traditions attire. I am hoping to get into the DCP by 2020, and I'm about to graduate high school this year, and I will attend college at a local school for the first year to finish my credits for my associates. I want to know how many years you were in college before you and Heather got accepted. So Heather and I both only applied for the college program one time. We got in on our first try, and we only had one full year of college behind us. We applied in August, which was the summer after our freshman year going into our sophomore year. Do you have any tips on what to do during the resume and cover letter part of the PI interview process that might help secure an interview? I definitely suggest printing out all the role descriptions for anything you want to apply for and tailor your resume and cover letter to those specific positions. If they have a list of skills, say they want, for my case in social media, skills with Twitter, skills with social media analytics, and skills with developing an editorial calendar for social media. If you have any of those skills, make sure they are explicitly stated on your resume and perhaps even in your cover letter if you want to go a little bit more in depth. If there is something that the job is asking for, you want to show the recruiter that you are the best fit for that role. So if you have all the skills listed there, make sure they're all on your resume. And if there are things on your resume that are great, but they don't necessarily help you put the right foot out there for this particular role, take it out and go further in depth on the skills that do apply to this role. It's all about tailoring your resume and cover letter for each specific job. I'm sure everyone has a ton of experience, but it's better to go a little bit more into detail on those things that are important and relevant to the role, as opposed to just filling it with all of the experience you have, if that makes sense. What is your advice on how to present yourself differently in the PI phone interview versus the DCP phone interview? I definitely think there are certain qualities of the phone interview process that correlate between the two. Smiling and making sure you sound happy and enthusiastic about the role you're applying for can apply to both. But the amount of guest interaction and guest service that you're trying to portray you can accomplish for your college program might not apply for a PI. It's great that you've had a ton of magical moments with guests and wanted to make magic for guests when you're applying for the college program, but PIs are going to be more focused on the skills that you've learned in college and how you'd be really fit for that professional role. So I would definitely still maintain that happy and positive attitude, but keep in mind that you are applying for a professional position. You want to talk about your skills and you want to make yourself sound like you would do super well on a team of full-time employees who are working sometimes in corporate. It depends on where you are, but basically consider it, you're applying for retail, you're going to act one way in a phone interview, and you're applying for an office job. There are different qualities that would help you succeed there, so you definitely want to portray those qualities more. Does that make sense? I don't want this to sound sassy. I just think that there's a different way to carry yourself if you're applying for the college program versus a PI. I hope that makes sense. If you have any more specific questions about that process, you can leave a comment below and I can try and answer them a little bit more clearly. I know that was confusing. Do you have any tips on how to fill out the application or partake in the phone screen? Do you think cover letters help? Thank you. This is all for PI. So I get this question a lot. How do you get past the phone screen to that interview? You just need to convince the recruiters that you are the #1 best fit person for the PI that you're applying for. If you have any of the skills that are listed in the job posting, talk about them. Talk about how you are so awesome and enthusiastic about social media if that's something that you're applying for. I personally mentioned this YouTube channel in the interview for my PI, my phone screen. I just wanted to show them an example of content creation being a passion for me, and that I did it in my free time outside of any internship or school project that I had. You could talk about your personality. You want to show them who you are and why you would be a great fit and asset for that team. My camera just stopped recording, so if it didn't record the entire beginning of this, I'm going to be really upset. The next question is, I'm applying for a communications and social media internship with Disney in the fall. It would be a really big move for me, so my question is, what is the living situation like? Okay, so this question in particular is for Glendale, which I have less experience with, but I can still try to speak to. The living situation is more or less you're on your own. In the Glendale area, I don't believe that they provide interns housing. The internship should pay enough for you to live in the area, but my #1 recommendation if you're looking for an apartment on your own is to find roommates. There will be tons of Facebook groups of accepted interns that are trying to connect with each other prior to arriving in Florida, Glendale, wherever they may be. Roommates are going to save you so much money. They're going to make you really good friends that are in a similar situation as you, and it's probably, at least in the Glendale area, the only way to afford living there. I've never even been to California, so I'm not sure. I can only speak to Florida, where I lived in PI housing because they do provide it if you so choose to act upon it and take that option. But as you can see, I am not in PI housing anymore because I didn't really enjoy that experience and I decided to move out for the extension of my internship. I hope that helps. What do you do for the professional internship? Is it like the Disney College program? This is the final question, and I must say it is nothing like the Disney College program. I personally run about 9 different social media accounts for Disney. I do a ton of different communications related work. I take photos, I take videos, I edit them for social media. Really, every day is different and I do love it, but it's nothing like my college program. My college program, I worked merchandise at the Contemporary Resort. I was around guests every day. I had to stay in Disney Look, and it was just a completely different environment, different hours. Now I have a really stable schedule. I work 8 to 4:30 every single day. I do not have to maintain Disney Look at all times, only when I'm in front of guests, which is not very often. So it's just a completely different environment and obviously a very different role. I had to go to college for this. There are skills that I am utilizing here in my professional internship that I learned at school, so it's just completely different. It's not like the DCP. However, there are some roles that are based in the parks for professional interns, such as guest relations and VIP tours. That could be similar to your college program because you may have similar hours. You're going to be in the park interacting with guests, so it really just depends on what you're doing. But mine personally is not like my college program. I'm sitting here on my couch editing this video while watching SpongeBob, and I realized I did not answer a question from my dear friend Amy Pond, and she wants to know, what is your favorite project that you've worked on during your PI? Anything with you, girl. But for real, I've loved every project that I've had the opportunity to work on during my PI. It's been such a great experience, and I've been exposed to such a wide variety of work and different things that I could do, and gaining skills that I didn't even know that I had or had the potential to have in the first place. More recently, I worked on a series of culinary cast member spotlights, so we got to go out and interview some chefs across Walt Disney World property, and I actually had the opportunity to kind of lead the project. I came up with all the interview questions, I reached out to the chefs on my own, and everything turned out really great, and what was even more satisfying was that I got to meet some wonderful chefs along the way who had such great stories to tell and really deserved to have that spotlight on them. So that was awesome. But anything with you, Amy, holds such a special place in my heart. We miss you and we wish that you were still here, but I have those little flowers from your desk on my desk, so it's kind of like a memorial for you. Love you! Those are all of the questions that I am answering today. I hope that this was helpful in a way. I'm definitely thinking that I want to make some more sit-down videos. It's really hard for me to vlog when I go to the parks. I don't think I can convince my boyfriend to be in a vlog, so he's usually who I go to the parks with, so that's a little bit of a deterrent. But if you do want me to make more sit-down videos, leave a comment down below. Anything you'd like me to talk about, I am really open to just creating more content and definitely answering your guys' questions if you want to know anything about living in Florida, Disney professional internships, etc. You guys know what I'm all about at this point, but that is all I have for today. See you real soon!